Hey, Matt Hunkler here, founder of Powderkeg. For the last decade or so, I've been doing kind of what I would consider my life's work. Really passionate about helping people in the middle of the country connect with high-growth technology companies to help grow and scale them no matter where they live. And the last 10 years, I've really spent a lot of time traveling, not just through the Midwest, but really all over the country, all over the world even, meeting with hundreds of companies, getting a chance to talk to tens of thousands of people, and I can tell you that we have a bit of an epidemic, and the data kind of backs that up. And that epidemic is that 87% of people are not passionate about their jobs. That is really upsetting. In fact, 80% are downright dissatisfied, which means that they're disengaged at work and they're not reaching their full potential. And the problem is, in the middle of the country, it can be hard to find the right tech company to join. When we dive in a little bit more into the data, you can see that there's an 85% surge in tech job postings just in Indiana alone. Now, we serve dozens of cities around the country, but just looking at Indianapolis, tons of VC funding. You heard Jason talking about it earlier. That presents a real problem. There is an emerging opportunity in the middle of the country, and for the first time in history, venture capital investment grew faster outside of Silicon Valley, in the middle of the country, than inside Silicon Valley. And 80% of every venture capital round goes directly into one thing, which is hiring talented people to help them grow and scale their companies. The problem is, it's hard to find out which company to work for, and when we surveyed over 1,000 people in all the markets that we serve, like right here in Indianapolis, Nashville, Tennessee, Kansas City, Raleigh, etc., the number one reason people join a tech company is also the number one reason that they quit at a tech company, and that's company culture. The problem is these cultures aren't mapped. So that's what we've been building at Powderkeg, is a better way to connect with these tech companies in the middle of the country. We call it community-powered job matching, or Powderkeg matches. The way that works is twofold. One, I told you that employees or candidates want to find great cultures to work at. At the same time, employers want to find people that are a culture match for their company. When we surveyed thousands of employers, they said the number one source of culture match candidates is from internal referrals. The problem is with these tech companies doubling, sometimes tripling size in a single year, you're not going to fill your talent pipeline with just internal referrals. That's where Powderkeg takes its superpower, which is our network. We now have over 10,000 professionals in these communities around the country, specifically working with influencers and people like yourselves in this room who know other people. We did this thing right before we started this. People raising their hand saying, hey, I'm open to a new job. I need help connecting. Hopefully, someone in this room knows the right company, I do, to connect you with so that we can help you have great interviews and connect to the people who can actually hire you. So the way we do that today is just like this. I wanted to give you a real example. Brad was referred to us by Jeremy. He worked for what Forbes called one of the top 10 tech companies in the country. It's Oracle. He worked at Oracle, found out he was going to have to continue working at Oracle. He was going to have to move to Toronto from Indianapolis. He was a little freaked out about that. So was his wife and his kids. They did not want to uproot their life and move to Toronto. The problem is, Brad didn't really know what was going on here in Indianapolis from a tech standpoint. He saw some of the headlines, high alpha companies raising money, other companies exiting. That's all well and good, but Brad's doing his job. He's getting shit done. The problem is he's asking friends for recommendations. They're giving him things that maybe are a little bit above his pay grade, below his pay grade. He tried talking to executive recruiters. They just amplified the problem. Brad was sad. So here's what we did. We helped Brad think through what he cares most about an employer. We helped him think through his ideal role, what his desired benefits are, and matched them with the companies in our network that we matched with the attributes that we gathered from first-party data from the employees that work at these companies. Brad was then able to review culture profiles that was assembled with first-party qualitative and quantitative data about these companies. Brad says, yes, I want to talk to this company. The company gets an anonymous email protecting Brad's identity. He's able to search all of this in complete anonymity. Protecting him in these tight-knit communities is so important. Brad actually got matched with 12 companies, and by the 4th interview, he had 2 job offers. And ultimately, he took a job at a really cool tech company here in town called Demand Jump. Brad's happy because he's making more money and he has equity and is working on a product he cares about. Demand Jump's happy because they add another Brad to their team and they're getting data and feedback as we continue to capture these. And ultimately, the people referring Brad are earning money that they can either keep for themselves or contribute back to their software development group, or they can donate it to a nonprofit of their choice. So ultimately, people in Powderkeg community and using the Matches platform can profile the culture, review the matches, and connect and hire. Thank you.
Sweet. Thank you. I have 2 questions.
Sure.
Where do you use Python in your stack?
It's the core app.
Excellent.
So the core app is built by Ryan. I am not the smart person. And then Robert in the very back is our CTO. Robert, raise your hand. So Ryan's the guy in the code. Robert's the guy that's helping us architect the thing. Daria Henry, who's also worked with DT Starts, is another person who's been helping us with that. We use React. We're going to be using React on the front end.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then, how can the community here help you out?
Really glad you asked that question.
I try.
We are going to be launching City Pages soon. City Page is basically going to be a culture page for Indianapolis, for Nashville, for Denver, you name the city. We need your help getting more data, more companies. If your employer doesn't have a culture profile, we'd love for you to sign up for one. It's free. That's all going to populate directly to the City Pages. And ultimately, we're going to be mapping the entire ecosystem so you can find a job you love no matter where you live, and ultimately connect with your calling and reach your full potential. If you know someone that's looking for a new role, open to a new role, I would love for them to sign up for Matches. It's free, and we connect you directly with the decision makers, bypassing this whole spray and pray job application thing.
I have one other sort of question, which is, how do you think you guys match up against another company like Built-in, with their different, and for those who don't know, Built-in is a Chicago-based company. They are also an aggregator of various, company information and job information and stuff like that. So where do you guys see your secret sauce there? So
I think Built-in is really interesting in a lot of ways. Some of what they did has inspired what we've done. But we're very different in the sense that Built-in has been built specifically to be sort of a news outlet for these communities like Chicago, like Austin, and they have just a simple job board. Nothing wrong with that. Job boards are probably the best thing out there right now, and it's nice to have one in Chicago for tech.
Yep.
The thing that we're trying to do is bypass the whole job board rigmarole. We will have job board, publicly facing if you want to lurk and peruse things. But the key thing that's different for us is catered matches and connections directly to decision makers, and really protecting people's identity and information so that in these tight-knit communities, they can search in peace, knowing that their information is safe. It's like Match.com, but for jobs.
Cool.
Yep, or eHarmony, you choose. Yeah.
Person with the blue shirt sleeve.
So I think what I heard was, can you tell the difference between a company advertising having a good culture versus a company that actually has a good culture? I'm really glad you asked that question. We do have the Breakout Culture Awards, but the entire culture profile itself is populated by first-party data, which means real people who actually work at that company. A survey is distributed by leadership to the company. It's anonymously submitted, so people that work at that company are actually submitting that, and they know that their information is safe. It's very different from what you might find at like a Glassdoor, which was more of like a review site. Ultimately, it's a hostage situation for employers, where you're gonna have people who didn't get hired or who got fired who are gonna leave negative reviews, and then to your point, you basically have to advertise on Glassdoor to suppress negative reviews. This is different in the sense that we do give employers control to say, here's what I want to highlight on my profile, but they're not able to put anything on there that is disingenuous and isn't from the data that we captured. Sure.
And we were pleasantly rewarded by seeing, especially development organizations, had some uncomfortable feedback for leadership, and so we got to stress test the anonymity, and it was really good to see. You know, there's definitely a difference in how HR and marketing communicate culture, which is why we wanted to be more focused on department level cultures within a company, and not just treating it as one homogeneous culture.
Thanks, Robert. Robert's the smart one. Of the smart two. Ryan is also smart. I meant of me and Robert, he's the smart one.
So I was wondering on that, if you have enough information about the people adding in stuff for that company, the company's going to know who put that in there. Even if they're anonymous, they're going to know. I mean, if you have a company of 10, 15, 20 people, you're a software engineer, and you start putting specifics in there.
Yeah, one of the things that we have found is most of the times the data that comes back is what an employer would expect. We do give the employer the full capability to decide, do I want to display that on my profile or not? That said, we're protecting the anonymity of the person, and part of our monetization strategy is that we actually have a network of service providers who do things like leadership consulting, culture consulting, so that ultimately these companies that maybe don't have a top 10th percentile culture can get there over time. But we do have the Culture Awards, which ranks top cultures in Indiana and other markets. And Calvin's company, 6 Feet Up, won a number of awards this year. So if you like Calvin, vote for Powderkeg.
Full disclosure. All right. All right. We got time for another couple of questions. Anybody else? Yeah, Graham?
What's your business model? How do you make money?
Great question. What's your business model and how do you make money? We don't charge anything to professionals, even though we're trying to provide a premium experience for job search, job match. Employers pay a subscription fee, and then there is a transaction fee that ultimately we use to pay the professional a signing bonus. So every professional that gets placed gets a $1,000 signing bonus from Powderkeg, which they can either deposit to their account or donate to a nonprofit of their choice. And then we also use that referral commission to pay the person that referred that person to Powderkeg. And then Powderkeg makes a little bit too.
Cool. One more? Yep.
Do you guys integrate with Woven to streamline the interview process?
Another excellent Startup Bro company. No, but Woven is a Startup Bro company. Yeah, they're very happy about that. Go on, sorry.
Yep, great question. Have definitely talked with Wes about that. More closely, we're working with Tim Hickel and the team there to see if there's ways. We share a lot of common clients. It is general best practice for startups to wait till we mature a little bit because we're still sort of like, our bones are still forming a little bit. And so like figuring out how we exactly work together, we're still figuring out. A lot of that's happening ad hoc right now as opposed to like an API integration.
Cool.
Good question. Yeah, we are startup community friendly.
Excellent. Cool. I think that might be it. Thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you.
Sweet.